Yeah, we are live.
Are we live?
Yeah, we are live.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another session of Energy. We have with us Dr. Tulika Goswami. She's a faculty at Tejpur Medical College and she specializes in maternal health and different kind of community awareness programs. A very welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Good afternoon, everyone.
Ma'am, today we will be discussing on maternal health and different kinds of awareness programs in the rural parts of Assam. My first question to you is, ma'am, what is the most common health issue that you come across in rural Assam among young women?
It's like a nutrition. If you consider nutrition in adolescent, it's a complex situation. Like we have both the extremes. Like we have undernutrition, which is a major problem, and also affecting. It's not mainly affecting the urban area, but also it's going towards and affecting the rural people in our community. So both are, we have the dual burden of disease, like we have undernutrition and overnutrition. Both are a major problem. And if you consider about the undernutrition, mainly the anemia, protein energy malnutrition, etc. are common, and especially this adolescent age group. If there is malnutrition, then there is three generational effect, like they are going to become the future mother. And so by that, and
Right.
their next generation will also be affected by malnutrition. Mainly,
Ma'am,
yes.
my next question is, hello, yeah, ma'am, my next question is, during the pandemic situation, what is the status of the menstrual hygiene and several other kinds of issues that young women face here?
Okay. So menstrual hygiene is one important factor because with infection. So if there is infection which leads to malnutrition, and again it's like a cyclical process. So once there, so mainly menstrual hygiene management is important. It's a concern not only in our COVID situation but also during the normal situation also, because menstrual hygiene is poor and reproductive tract infection amongst the adolescents and even all reproductive age group female, it is common. So it's important to continue menstrual hygiene management even during pandemic difficult situation. Like they should be aware. Like we talk about disposable pad, we talk about should have sometimes during this pandemic situation, especially during the initial part when there was lot be difficult. The road shops are closed, so that access to the. But in a rural area, we have ASHA workers who supply free of cost, and it's like almost they work like depot holder, and the girls may get access to this menstrual hygiene material. But at the same time, I would also like to focus on, it is not necessary that we should always promote only the sanitary pad. There may be like, because the waste disposal is another big issue which is emerging. So we can talk about even reusable items like reusable clothes. So how to clean it, how to properly wash it, so how to reuse it. That type of small little skill we need to teach along with our life skill education, so that the girls, they learn how to do it. And also the social taboo, like that menstruation is like stigmatization or taboo, and also it linked with nutrition. Like many community, you can see like during menstruation period, they will not allow the girl to take citrus fruits or citrus items, and also non-vegetarian food. So there is a lot of restrictions which we give during that menstrual period. But such type of nutritional restriction further lead to undernutrition and anemia. So we should be very careful that this is a normal natural process and there is no need to have any such restriction of food.
Right.
Should be of more importance during this menstrual period. Yes.
Right. Ma'am, so what do you think? What is the status of sex education or reproductive health awareness in the state among
Okay.
all, in fact, all genders and all ages actually?
Yes. So
Hmm.
the discussion, actually now we have lot of programs because HIV is another emerging problem, especially in northeastern region. We intravenous drug use is emerging problem in covering the northeastern region. So these are important issues, but again, like the sex education is now increasing. Focus is given to school also, like school talk 8 program, university talk 8 program. All these programs are ongoing, but again, my feeling is we should do a lot more work on that. It should not be like a hidden. And usually this adolescent period is transition, like we call years, isn't it? As per WHO classification.
Right.
So that 10 to 19 years is a period, only 10 years, but within that period, there is lot of transition from childhood to adulthood. So there is very frequent change, both physiological, psychological and social. So they are no longer children, no longer adult. That transition in mental health, emotional health, and all this cognitive development, etc. takes place. So during this period, it is very important that what message to be given, at which age, and who to give. So usually what happens, they learn more from their peer. So has more benefit, and also the good communication skill, good communication between parents and children, opening up so that they open up, they talk about their difficulties, and also the student teacher relationship. These are some factors, like all the both the primary and secondary social relationship should be like sex education, sex, about sexual health, about use of contraceptives, where it is available. So because many tea garden in different areas in rural different communities, we see that without knowing what is sex or what is the how to do it, or that they become pregnant. And
Right.
like adolescent pregnancy, one emerging issue that we have in Assam, around 20%, between 20 to is another issue. Again, 20% to 25% early marriage is happening, which is again across, like in rural area, that we can see that early marriage is more than in urban area. So this informing people so can take their own decision properly. Like we have
Right.
for the girls and women in our community, that culture of silence is there. So they do not want to talk some of the things. So opening up, talking with them is important, I feel so. And in this culture of silence in while talking about sex education is very common.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, here I would like to ask you, what is the correct or the right age to bear a child? What is
Okay.
the age? When does it start? Like, when is the time?
Okay, so marriage, our legal age of marriage is 18 years, but we, from health point of view, we always consider that it should be above 20 years, because up to 19 years, development is not complete. So after 20 years only, those childbearing is, if you want to ask me, is
Mhm.
that a woman can bear child from 50 for childbearing should be between 20 to 30 years, because once 35 plus, again there is chances of having lot of congenital anomalies or some genetic disorders. So always from health point of view, we consider that 20.
Right, ma'am. Hello.
Yes, yes, I could hear.
Yeah, ma'am. So the next thing is, I want to ask about the major health issues among the urban adolescents.
Okay.
So,
So
what are the?
again in urban adolescent also similarly like in rural adolescent, most of the, if you can see like many of us even in urban area also it is the same. It's across the socioeconomic class, caste, gender. Everybody is suffering from anemia. So it is even not dependent upon the purchasing power, because in our, especially if you consider our northeastern area, we are surrounded by all greenery. We have so many local fruits available, but the nutrition knowledge is deficient. It is not that the access and availability, but the knowledge, how to prepare it, how to cook it. All these small little things actually makes a lot of differences. So even in urban area, I consider that anemia, malnutrition, all other deficiencies, B complex deficiency to vitamin A deficiencies are common. And also along with that, because of too much use of our junk food and like ultra processed food, like we do not take normal fruits, rather we go for fruit juice, or like instead of taking an apple we go for apple pie. So that is an ultra processed food, which again boy and girl child become, they become obese, and ultimately so there is overnutrition and too much snacking. So we take a lot of snacks, potato related product. You can see in a rural area,
Hmm.
if you go, like many people, they are selling their own banana and they're buying chips and fruity for their child. So, I'm not talking about any, do not want to talk about any company specifically, like cool drinks or some soft drinks, so which are
Right.
actually hazardous food, but we may not be knowing the cooking process, and maybe we are going more towards commercial preparation, commercial advertisement, and maybe we are more, our children are more interested to go take those burgers and all these things, so which actually hampering our health, children's health.
But ma'am, if you think about it this way, sometimes we find that the fast foods are, way cheaper than the nutritious food
Yes, yes,
here.
true,
So
true.
how this can be bridged, or what kind of things can be done to promote healthy food?
Yes, again that the question is that nutrition knowledge. Like maybe like for example, like we have so many, guava is cheaper, banana is cheaper, maybe pomelo is cheaper. So we have like in a kitchen garden, even in our roadside, like we have so many amla, all these things which are very nutritionally superior. So that type of, we can make the habit of taking the healthy snacks. So healthy snack, not that you need to take only apple or something like that, which are costly. Apple or our own state or nearby areas like
Hmm.
pineapple. So all the seasonal fruits. So if you take good, if children, they used to take, they take the good fruits like as a healthy snacks, then they will be benefited. And that I do not consider that as a very costly options, because seasonal fruits in season it is cheaper.
Hmm.
So, but
Right.
off season it may be costly, and if you go for all those costly foods which are actually nutritionally inferior, then it is a different thing. And then again, I have seen that inclination of children towards the fruit juice in there. So instead of going for fresh fruits, they go for fruit juice, which is again a refined variety or processed one where there is fiber content is less. So fruits containing high fiber is healthier than less fiber. So that is also another important thing which we should actually, if we can, from the complementary feeding, like from 6 months onward, if the parents start giving child at least 1 or 2 servings of fruits or vegetables, gradually they can from semi-solid state to the solid after 1 year. So that habit we can develop among children.
Right. Ma'am, my next question is also related to this. Uh, So type 1 diabetes is becoming very common. So how do children cope up with that?
Yes, diabetes type 1 is actually a genetic disorder. Type 2 actually related to nutrition. So type 2
Right.
diabetes mellitus, which is related to nutrition, and that again related, it is related to fetal onset adult diabetes. So during
Mhm.
this, especially we talk about first 1,000 days of life. So during these first thousand days means pregnancy period, which we roughly consider as 365, 365.
Mhm.
70 days plus 365, 365. So total of 1,000 days. So that means from conception to first 2 years of life, if
Mhm.
there is good nutrition, so which leads to optimum brain development also, because 90% brain development occurs during this period. And also during this, if there is no fetal malnutrition, this fetal malnutrition actually leads to adult diabetes, or not only diabetes, even for many other cardiovascular disease like hypertension, etc. So during these first 2 years of nutrition, during these first 2 years of life is important, where the maternal nutrition, then after delivery, the exclusive breastfeeding by mother, then after that
Mhm.
timely complementary feeding. Then after that, once you start the complementary feeding till the adolescent period over, we should give focus on not only the quality of food, quality, frequency, everything, timing, portion size, all these are important factors. Plate, like for the, especially for the adolescent, as we are talking about adolescent, the plate should contain all different varieties of food. Like there should be at least vegetables, dairy products. Sometimes we see that children are not interested to take dairy products. So like
Right.
milk, yogurt, etc. So our traditional foods are better. Like we have the habit of like rice flake with yogurt, with some jaggery. So these are some complete food where salt is also not there, and adding some banana. So these are some food like healthy snacks for the evening or maybe for the breakfast. So instead of going for some noodles and some high salt, high energy food, so we should promote that type of thing where there is minimal processed food, like instead of going
Right.
for ultra processed food. So that should be, and again the home cooked food is always better. Traditional food, home cooked food, because we do not know in the cafeteria or in different restaurant how hygiene is maintained, what are the components given. So those things are important. So the foods are cooked, how it is clean during the cutting, piling, etc., and whether cooked under, and when salt is added. So how much salt is given. So those things we need to modify according to the necessity or need of the child or adolescent.
Right. Ma'am, recently, according to the recent studies, Assam is not in a very good position when it comes to maternal health. So, why do you think that is the case? And,
Yes.
why Assam is being highlighted?
Okay. Maternal health is
Mhm.
another problem. Maternal mortality rate is very high in Assam.
Mhm.
And in fact, we are leading in maternal health, maternal
Right.
mortality. And even morbidities are very common. Most common reason
Mhm.
for this is, again, the nutrition, like anemia, again, hypertension, another important reason, and mainly pregnancy-induced hypertension, and again, postpartum hemorrhage. These are some of the common reasons for high maternal mortality. You can see
Mhm.
like during pregnancy, it's like adolescent health, that low maternal reserve. Even during that late adolescent, the women usually become pregnant like in 19, 20, 22 years, like that. So that
Mhm.
period, so if there is anemia, already pre-existing anemia, then there during pregnancy there is requirement becomes high, appetite becomes low. So ultimately, and their low nutrition knowledge all leads to high anemia burden, then this anemia leads to multi-system problem, and ultimately it may go to fatal event like maternal mortality. Secondly, so that nutrition knowledge is important. Secondly, the poor antenatal care, like many times is not taking that. And sometimes the free supplied medicines, people feel that these are not good things. So they prefer going to the pharmacy and buy some bottles or something where the composition iron may not be, that appropriate quantity or amount of iron may not be there. So that is another problem. Thirdly, infection is another problem. Like we in Assam or northeastern region, we have very high burden of worm. Regularly iron, this do not take the and deworming tablet regularly. So though we have free supply of anti deworming tablets, but still people are not taking. Many coverage is very poor. So both the iron supplementation is given for adolescent girls in different age group. We have supplementation program through ICDS and also through health. And also we have deworming program which covers every yearly. But the coverage is poor because compliance is not there. It is not that people are not working, but people are hesitant to take those medicines. They feel like if we take anti-helminthic, the worm may come out from nose and those. So they have that during hot season, they will not take anti-helminthic. So that infection, infestation, etc. also leading to malnutrition. So these are also some other problems which leading to a high burden of anemia and leading to high maternal death. So all these are actually linked together. Also the poor nutrition and knowledge, and also the menstrual, unhygienic menstruation and food taboos, like during disease process. Say for example, now in the COVID situation. So any disease, people try to restrict food intake. So during disease condition, there will be definitely, there is any infection or infestation, there is definitely there will be less appetite. So people may take less, but once they recover, then they should take more frequent food, so that that nutrition deficiency which happens during this disease or the illness period can be supplemented by additional food intake, which do not happen in our community. Can you hear me? Hello?
No problem.
Can you hear me?
Tell me, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you all.
Tell me, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you all. But I could not hear her.
Ma'am, there is I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like mostly we hear like there are two kinds of chicken available in Assam. One is the broiler, the other is the local one.
Okay.
Yeah, so mainly
I'm
people
extremely
are,
sorry. I'm extremely sorry.
It's
There
okay.
was some issue.
yeah, I am putting a question for me. Yeah. So,
Right.
ma'am, often we hear that the broiler chicken is harmful for pregnant ladies and also for the youngsters, mainly the one who is in the growing stage. Can you
Oh,
let us know about it?
and it's not like that, though. Definitely, the more fat intake is not good. But our community, if you consider, majority are deprived of nutrition. So majority are malnourished. So whatever we get, we should take. Like for especially for pregnant women and children, that such type of restrictions should not be there. So usually the definitely local chicken will be less fat. Fat will be less, but maybe broiler fat will be more. But my instead of like arguing that whatever we get, we should consume it in a healthy way. Like we cook the meat, any meat, in very rich way. Like we give lot of oil, we cook for very long duration. So now maybe the trend is changing. We are going towards more boiled items and even boiled chicken or boiled meat. So which is a better trend, I think. So that cooking in more spice and more oil, and cooking for very long period, use of same oil, and like we in that fast food corners, the chickens which are cooked repeatedly fried in same oil, ultimately that converts the oil, maybe a healthy cooking oil into unhealthy, like there is conversion to trans fat, which is again very dangerous. So in our community nowadays, we do not take dalda or that trans fat because that is banned, but still because of repeated cooking, repeated cooking of the oil, same oil if it is used, especially which is done in fast food corners. So that lead to trans fat generation. So that trans fat is dangerous for the health. Otherwise, meat, red meat is definitely better. But my feeling is for adolescent and pregnancy, whatever they get, they need more energy, so they should take it. But again, for the like, we need to monitor the BMI, body mass index. We need to monitor the nutritional status. Like we have high prevalence in our community, high prevalence of stunting. Stunting means low height for age. So that monitoring low, that reflects, this stunting reflects actually long-term malnutritional status. So not only weight, but also the height, which is important. So quarterly monitoring of both height and weight is important for the adolescent. And once there is any faltering, then they need, so accordingly we need to give the counseling, how much to take what. So in general, usually better to give all this food in a which are cooked in a healthy process, like home cooked food, always better than those, like if you take sauces or all those things which are like repeatedly frozen and thrown. So that leads to nutrition loss. So my always prefer, say for example, children or adolescent going out for school, morning time they should take a very good heavy breakfast. So it may contain egg, it may vegetarian, not vegetarian, doesn't matter. There should be different, like it should be like, we call it as a tri-colored food. Like there should be some white, which comes from pulses like rice, or yellow like lentils, dals, etc. And the greens maybe from fruits, maybe from vegetables. So that is tricolor, we call it as a triranga food. Or maybe along with that a glass of milk, or so that those type of food if we can give. And if there is heavy breakfast, then they will not have the tendency to take some junk food while they are in school. And also healthy tiffin, we can make it, we can pack it. And then even if we feel like sometimes there is tendency, because children also have the experiment, and they want to try the newer things, exotic food. So then it's, instead of saying no, we cannot say that this food should be prohibited, except the alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. Otherwise, all other foods can be consumed, but in moderation. Like those who are very high in fat density should be in moderation. So when we consider it, when we plan a diet, there should be around 50 to 55% carbohydrate, 15 to 20% fat, protein, and 20 to 25% fat. So like that we can, and also the micronutrient, because we forget to give micronutrient supplementation, iron, zinc, vitamins. So if they take seasonal fruits, vegetables, etc., in the form of salad, chutneys, and fruits, so then that type of deficiencies can be corrected.
And also, there is a question always coming up. So, what is the right age? Till what age should a person drink milk? Cow milk, we're talking about.
Okay. There
Yeah.
is some studies saying that cow milk is, like, if they take more cow milk, then adult onset diabetes is more common. Okay. But I feel like in our community, if you go and study, most of them are not taking any milk only, because the children, they do not like milk. So preference will be, as from nutrition point of view, always maybe instead of milk, we can any adolescent girls can take definitely 200 ml of milk, like that may be a medium-sized glass of milk, or and also better always to add some, always to have some yogurt, which is nutritionally superior, yogurt or curd, then can be prepared at home. So we need to promote that thing, and also like some cottage cheese, etc., which are very important, good, but maybe in our rural area that paneer and all may not be available. So at least yogurt they can make. Traditionally we make yogurt, so that should be promoted because that is healthier for our for our intestine also, and from diabetic point of view also, we need to give more preference to yogurt than milk. But still, I do not say that milk should be avoided totally. You should maintain good body weight, normal body weight, then good physical activity, also positive thinking, good exercise, healthy environment, then clean environment, then maybe we can reduce that other problem, even the mental health. So that is again another issue in adolescent health. So relink, like if the mother is cooking food for the child, if the mother is breastfeeding the child, there is studies saying that that child, the suicidal tendency is less, and they better communicate with the mother. And so instead of going and taking some junk food from restaurant, we always need to promote that actually with that food, preparing, cooking, we are giving some love also to our children. Okay, so that is also important from the mental, because mental health again an emerging issue now, especially for the adolescent. They are becoming adamant, they are becoming more addict, and their suicidal tendency is also increasing.
Right. Ma'am, so do you think veganism is a thing, like we should go towards veganism instead of, taking non-veg? I mean, my point of view is like the broilers and other farm animals, they induce a lot of hormones, synthetic hormones and stuff to, increase the yield and all. So, do you think veganism is the right way to go?
As from our public health point of view, we do not consider that. Like maybe culturally we cannot forcefully allow someone to take non-veg, but we have studies saying that those who are taking purely vegetarian diet, their height is compromised. So that is, but again you can, like if there is good mixture, like protein may come from milk, protein may come from egg, protein may come from any other sources. So we are concerned for the protein, so the child should get protein. So the source may be a vegetarian source, maybe a non-vegetarian source. And even with vegetarian source, suppose too much cooking in oil, too much use of butter, so all these things will lead to obesity. So you can see like even vegetarians are obese, and cardiovascular disease is not less in vegetarian community. So we do not consider vegetarian and non-vegetarian as a problem. Rather, we would say like we should take a mixture of everything. So as per availability, as per local level, because locally available means these are not artificially prepared. So locally available, so we need to go towards the traditional food. Then like instead of going for cookies and bakery product, better to go for roti and rice, which are like less processed food. Okay, then
Right.
ultra processed. That is my suggestion will be like that only. So stick to your normal beliefs, customs, which is practiced since your earlier generations. But again, do some like depending upon your weight. If your weight is underweight, then you can easily take lot of so that according to your activity and according to your body composition, you can it is flexible, you can plan out your diet.
Right. Ma'am, what is the status of sexually transmitted diseases, STDs, awareness, like awareness about these kind of diseases?
Awareness is, if I should say, like HIV awareness is increasing definitely, but awareness and practice, two different things. So people are aware, but mainly we have seen like, I cannot say in general, but even general, like nationwide study also saying like HIV knowledge is increasing, practice a very high level, but still I have seen like poverty mainly leading to some, and even illiteracy. So we have like, we now the literacy rate in Assam and India is increasing, but if you see the indicators, 10 years schooling, that is very low, like less than 20% maybe in rural area going completed 10 years schooling. So it's not only literate, but also that how long they study. So whether they know, so many people unknowingly they got married, they are exploited. And we have seen an early, adolescent pregnancy and adolescent different consumption of like tobacco, different tobacco product. Then even or in the roadside, you can see so many pan masala and all these tobacco related products are available. And it's not only smoking. Smoking is not so high compared to the smokeless tobacco is used, like chewing tobacco. And in the schools, many schools in rural area, you can see like people share pan masala and all. And pan, like we traditionally believe that that this is like after you take lunch, you should take some betel nut, all these things. And with that betel nut, you ate some tobacco. And then gradually even the alcohol, like traditionally there is alcohol, so we cannot ban that. And then after that the children experiment and they will go for low cost version, like they will go for those which are unhygienic product like sulai and all. And ultimately addiction, even drugs, now it is rampant, like everywhere it is available. So if they have that purchasing power, they try to buy, they try to share. So during this adolescent period, we have seen like lot of drug addiction. And then again, there is some stigma and discrimination, like people try to hide it. Parents de-addiction centers, you do not discuss with some psychologists. So ultimately, once they try to hide it or stigmatize in our society, then again, there will be like it may flare up and it may cause lot of damage to our society.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, during my dissertation, when I was in my master's, I actually traveled to a lot of villages. There I saw that women were very reluctant to go for uh, childbirth in the hospitals. They wanted to do it at home only. So,
Yeah.
what kind of awareness programs are available for such issues?
Okay, so hospital delivery is some area, it is a problem because there may be sometimes like, especially in tea garden area, in riverine area, where there may be sometimes language problem. They do not want to go out, and like sometimes they feel like if you go to bigger hospital, the cost may be high. Then there may be, so lot of things are there associated. But for that, there is a lot of programs, government initiated programs, Janani Suraksha Yojana, JSSK, Janani Sishu Suraksha Karyakram, through which there is the ASHA, they escort, they facilitate, so that and from home to home service, all free of cost, all medicines, everything supplied free of cost. But still, and also this way actually leading to lower helped in lowering maternal mortality. But still, I should say that still in some area we have, like in some lower Assam districts like South Salmara, some riverine areas, many areas in middle Assam also, even so many areas we have high, even upper Assam where tea garden dominated, where there is temporary workers. So those areas high maternal mortality, maybe because of many reasons, like we consider that three reasons. One is delay in the three delay. First one is delay in decision making, like they
Hello, ma'am, can you hear us?
that proper planning is like before that is there should be transfer
Ma'am, you are on mute.
Hello.
tip is then maybe we can reduce it further. We are successful, but I cannot say that we are fully successful. Long way to go to address maternal and infant mortality in Assam.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much. Also, I have another question related to this only. Uh, w- what is the status of premature birth care in the state?
Okay. So prematurity again related to malnutrition to some extent.
Right.
Percent not related, but some genetic factor may also influence. But if you see in Assam, we have premature delivery around 10 to 20%. We have in different areas, and we have now good facility for premature care like in all medical colleges or district hospital. We have special care newborn unit where there is all the low birth weight, even up to 700. Ideal body birth weight should be 200 to 2.5 kg. So 2,500 gram. Even from 700 gram, there is records of survival of baby if taken proper care in those SCNU, special care newborn unit, and also in the peripheral level like first referral unit and PSC. We have some facilities, we call it as stabilization unit. So we have graded referral system in PSC, FRU, and also the medical college, where the early identification of children, pregnancy like low, if their pregnancy weight gain, normally we expect that during pregnancy, women should gain around 10 to 12 kg body weight. If there is less, and by doing fetal ultrasound, if you can see that the weight gain is not proper, then we can have advanced referral and then delivery in a care in facility where there is pediatrician, so that the facilities can be provided to the child for greater. So a low birth weight baby ultimately may lead to SAM or MAM. SAM means severe acute malnutrition or moderately acute malnutrition. And the management protocols we have for both community and facility level. And though I definitely agree with you that the coverage and quality, like everybody is not yet trained, and the functionality of different facilities are different, but still there is initiative and there is functioning systems.
Right, ma'am. How long should should mothers take proper care of premature babies? Like, for till what time they need to be kept in a proper condition? Like,
Okay. Actually, even premature baby, they have catch up growth. So immediately after delivery, so we call it as a baby kangaroo mother care. Like the mother and baby should be put together and breastfeeding as frequently as possible, minimum 8 times day and night. Especially night feeding is important till 6 months. And also like other supplementations like iron, immediately within first 6 months, we need to give vitamin K immediately after birth. And other supplementation should start from 6 months onward. Good complementary feeding where firstly the timely breastfeeding, then good complementary feeding, and energy dense food we should give to the child, so that the child, so initial 6 months only breastfeeding with increased frequency can handle malnutrition, but gradually later on can have catch up growth. Gradually later on, once we start at 6 months complementary food, it should be of good both minimum dietary diversity, food frequency, and quality. Quality, quantity all should be maintained properly. And also hygiene, because children with low birth weight more prone to infection also. Their protective immunity is less. So the breastfeeding also protects the child. Also ultimately healthy food. And iron supplementation also should be started from 6 months onward.
thank you so much, ma'am. We can also move on. Like, I can keep on asking questions, but I also want the viewers to put in their questions, and I don't want to like take their time also. Uh,
Thank you.
uh, right now we have no questions so far in Facebook. Here we we can ask. Uh, right now, I think there was one question here. Uh, okay. I think we've covered this part. Another thing, ma'am, it's not related to maternal health, but in a recent study, it has been found that Northeast has a lot of cancer patients. And while talking to a few doctors, I got to know that, smoked food and all are also, are a factor. So how, this situation can be managed here?
Yes, yes. Like cancer is again a multifactorial disease. We call it as a wave of causation. So both lifestyle factor, behavioral factor, and nutritional factor, all these factors influences cancer scenario. So you cannot say that this cause effect, because of this people are suffering from that. So it's not like that. But still, one reason is nutrition. Like people are taking more smoked food. That is like chemical. There is lot of carbon related like barbecue food, smoked food, that carbon related compound which is a carcinogen, that is a known proven carcinogen. So that is one reason. Maybe more smoke exposure, like outdoor air pollution, and even food hygiene, even the fertilizer use, more fertilizer use in our for this cultivation part. So that may be another reason for even not only cancer, even for cardiovascular disease, even for hypertension. High salt, high refined food, low fiber content. Again, the cancer, the different cancer has different type of etiology or different reasons. Say for example, if there is oropharyngeal cancer, which is common in Assam, maybe because of chewing betel nut and tobacco product. And stomach cancer maybe because of smoked food or more hot food, or maybe because of more chemical. Bladder cancer is usually because related to aniline dye, lead poisoning. Lead, like we have so many colors, we use artificial colors in our new food also. Sometimes the colors and the drinks we use, the preservative which we use in our soft drinks and all, those are not of good quality. So all these may lead to, may give lot of carcinogen which we are consuming daily, and may lead to cancer, high cancer prevalence. Even even the gallbladder cancer is also increasing. So in Assam and northeastern region, we are getting lot of carcinogens, and it's like it's not only Assam, everywhere in the world. But again, for cancer, my feeling will be always, suggestion will be always earlier better results. So do the screening, cancer screening for different cancers. Like we can do cancer screening for screening for breast cancer, screening for cervical cancer for the women. And so, and also avoid those high risk behaviors like high tobacco consumption, obesity, another major risk factors of for high cancer, mainly breast cancer, ovarian cancer, gallbladder cancer. So that should be avoided. Even as again, I would like to tell, like it should not be total no to smoke food. We can take in moderation. It should not be too frequent. It's like we need to take every food items we can take in moderation. Like so optimum quantity, minimum quantity in moderation will not affect much.
Right, absolutely, ma'am.
Even the mosquito repellent
So,
also causes cancer. So we should be careful. Yes.
here, do you think
Yes.
women are very aware of ovarian cancer or cervical cancer or breast cancer? These kind of things are very common in women after a certain age. So, do you think and people in Northeast have that kind of awareness that they would, come to the
When
doctor, get screened?
Yes, yes. Again, here again, another problem is cancer is usually in the initial stage, it is asymptomatic. So if there is palpable lump, suppose breast, he may feel that lump is there. So in that case, he may go for, so that suspicion, degree of suspicion, if there is bleeding, upper vagina, then she may think that there may be cancer cervix or uterine carcinoma. So she may go for, sometimes some cancer usually in the first stage becomes asymptomatic. So regular health checkup is important, but I cannot say that regular health checkup can 100% prevent cancer, but at least can help you in early detection and early treatment. And once there is early treatment, the cure rate is very high. So that is why suggestion will be, if there is unnatural bleeding, unnatural swelling, color change in some mole, or suddenly there is lot of weight loss, anemia, severe anemia, we should rule out cancer also.
Right. Ma'am, in this kind of, COVID situation, many pregnant women are also very scared to visit the hospitals. So, how do they, can you give us some tips so that, we can,
Yes. Actually, for pregnant women, we have no need to come to the bigger hospitals like ASHA. They give in the sub center, they can go and they can use their protective, like mask wearing is a must. Social distancing is important, and minimum 4 antenatal quality antenatal visit is important. So she should go to the antenatal, like in each village, like for every 5 villages, we have one ANM, like we have sub centers. In each village, there is ASHA worker and Anganwadi worker. So this ASHA and Anganwadi can accompany the woman to the health center, that is sub center, and that one sub center caters around 5,000 population, 2,000 to 5,000 population. And that sub center, if she visits, then if there is any indication of her to be taken to the hospital, bigger hospital, then we have provision of 108 service referral transport, and then they can be taken to the ONG department. And usually during this COVID situation also, normal services are uninterrupted. So they can go and they can get the services even at the tertiary, all the different health facility as per the need. So no need to go for unnecessary health checkup to the higher centers. They can take them at their doorstep, their primary care by ASHA, Anganwadi worker, ANMs, and if needed, then only. That means that graded referral system should be in place. So this COVID situation will not go now. So it will remain here for maybe around 1 or 2 years. So people should be prepared, like we should, if there is necessity, initially, they should go and regular routine checkups should be done at the primary level. And if indicated, then only they should go to the bigger hospitals, and facilities are available uninterrupted.
we have a question from Shanta ma'am. Uh, She wants to know that cervical cancer vaccines are available for adolescent girls, but is it actually safe and advisable?
Yes, HPV vaccine is available and it is already piloted and started in some states in India. Like in Sikkim, they piloted, so gradually it will be rolled out, and maybe in next year we'll have it for whole of India. So it is recommended, it is safe, and it is advisable also. But I'll always prefer that once any vaccination, you should always go through the government system, because cold chain is well maintained in our government facilities. So, and we have a robust system of monitoring. So even in Assam, and in most places in India, we'll be having the vaccine, HPV vaccine, which will be rolled out maybe towards end of this year, or maybe in the next year. In some states already started.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, there's another question from Riju Muni Chitia. She wants to know anemia is still high among women, especially within the tea community.
Yes,
What
yes.
are the causes and what can be the precautions?
Okay. Actually, tea garden community, they have some like behavioral risk factors. They drink lot of tea. Tea means it is black tea with salt. So like if you can see, like they do not take normal water, rather that is a tradition, like because they do lot of work in in the field, tea garden, for long hours. So they get tea leaves, so, and they boil water and make even the tea. So that is why they suffer more from anemia and also from hypertension. So you can see that pregnancy, like stroke is very high, though their weight is not so high, low body mass index, but still people are dying because of stroke. Secondly, you can see almost 100% of tea garden women are anemic. Even the adolescent boys are also anemic because they have the habit of consuming salty water, tea water. So tea is like tea is tannic acid or caffeine, they hampers iron absorption. So, during in our diet, two things we should remember. One is we should take something like citrus, like lemon, a piece of lemon, which enhances iron absorption and which helps in do not consume tea immediately after food. So usually the tea garden workers, they go for and they do outdoor work and they take the tiffin, and tiffin is usually like they take rice and some pickle or salt. And so you can see all white because they do not have that much time to cook dal, which cooking time is high. So they take rice and some pickle or some roti or some pickle like that. And along with that, they take the salty tea, and which leads them to high prevalence of both anemia and also hypertension. That is why you can see that in Upper Assam region, we have very high maternal mortality. That is mainly because of anemia and also because of hypertension, pregnancy-induced hypertension leading to eclampsia and death. So that, and again, another thing, like nutritional knowledge in tea garden, also like because tea garden workers are migrate, they are taken from different parts of India, and they are like, here they are like colony type, they live in lines. So they do not have time for kitchen garden. So that kitchen garden promotion, healthy cooking behavior practice, like they take some potato and rice. Both are like carbohydrate only. So potato we do not consider as vegetables because potato it's a tubers and root. It is like rice. So if you take only potato, rice like that, and then your nutrition need will not be fulfilled. So nutrition deficiency, one. Secondly, faulty feeding habit. Thirdly, infection. In tea garden, you can see lot of worm infestation. Worm infection is common because like humid climate and habit of not wearing shoes, suppers, then open air defecation, open field defecation. Though now we have Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and coverage toilets are there, but again toilet maintenance is another issue. Though we are making toilets, the through government is giving toilet free of cost or with some subsidized construction. But still that maintenance is again important, like after 1 year, how to maintain it, how to clean it. So sometimes this becomes also a source of infection. So those are some water, sanitation, hygiene, nutritional supplementation, and behavioral risk factors. If we can address that, then anemia may be tackled in tea garden.
Ma'am, Avantika Porachor wants to know what is the kind of diet that a person with PCOD or PCOS should take, and what are the precautions?
Okay. PCOD, usually PCOD or PCOS is related, means polycystic ovarian disease, and which leads to irregular menstruation and usually leads to obesity. So always we suggest them that you reduce the body weight mainly by two ways. It is not that you need to, we never talk about restriction of food intake. We talk about healthy diet, like you take some diet which are negative, like negative nutrient, like you give more food, what the lentils and all. So like that, sprouted beans. So that those foods gives negative, like cucumber. So they give negative energy because they contain high fiber. Then after that, good body activity, physical activity, because we have like our change in habit, like we long hours in computer, long hours in TV, mobiles, video games, then stacking with those chips, potato chips and all this unhealthy diet. So those things should be avoided. So in between, we forget how much we are taking if we take those intermittent snacking. So that should be avoided. PCOD especially should promote more of healthy lifestyle, like good exercise, maintain your hormonal level, regular screening of your hormonal profile. If there is any hormonal alteration, try get it treated, and reduce your weight to your optimum weight. So every quarterly monitoring of height, weight, and maintaining it properly is important. It's not that, it's not a question of restriction, no starvation, rather you go for healthy diet, healthier version of all
Ma'am,
things.
I have a question here. It's very personal, but I want to ask this. So I was also diagnosed with PCOD. So after that, I changed my lifestyle. I worked out and all. So everything fell in place. I didn't lose weight, but the symptoms were gone. So
Hmm.
how was that possible?
Yes, true, true. Definitely possible. Because actually the hormones they synthesize, some hormones they get synthesized in our fat. So if you can reduce the abdominal fat, if you can reduce the weight, the hormonal profiles ultimately becomes normal. If you have good sleep in the night, like we have late night sleep, again hormonal, because in night time there is good hormonal secretion. So so healthy habits, if you so that normally without taking medicine you can improve it, but again that again depends upon your degree of PCOD. If there is very big cyst, then maybe you may have to go for operation, or there is so many sophisticated new technique by which you can do even with very. So the milder variant can be treated even by whatever variant may be. Health promotion is important because it gives multiple benefits. And also stress is also another factor which leads to PCOD, all these different hormonal imbalances. So stress, reduction of stress by positive thinking, good exercise, healthy diet, important but very
Ma'am,
difficult to practice.
a last question that I wanted to ask, like I was waiting. So it is that many women have septic uterus, or they have ectopic pregnancies, like instead of implantation in the uterus, they have implantation. So these kind of women, can they go for normal childbirth, or do they have to go for surgeries?
Yes, yes, no, even after days means it's a tubal pregnancy, like once there is ovum and then it migrate to the uterine cavity. So that migration, sometimes that migration may be interrupted, and in between the ovum may stuck. It is not necessary that every time the woman conceive that will be the same ectopic pregnancy will be recur. So it is not that. So once there is ectopic pregnancy, second time she may have normal pregnancy. So, but again, she should be careful. Ectopic pregnancy is a bit like you should, once there is pregnancy test positive, initially during the first few 6 weeks, or within first, at least first 3 months, we should take one ultrasound done, so that we know the position where the egg is there, so whether it reached the or this uterus or not. Otherwise, like ectopic pregnancy may sometimes burst, may rupture. Sometimes some ectopic pregnancy may gradually come down and ultimately reach the uterus also. So we should monitor it, we should treat it appropriately. So it is not a definitely ectopic pregnancy is a situation where there is sometimes even maternal mortality can occur. We should be very careful. But it is not necessary that it will recur in every pregnancy. But sometimes there is recurrence. We should be more careful why if there is any history of such ectopic pregnancy.
Right. And ma'am, in case of the septic uterus, what such kind of women should do? Like, should they go for surgery right away, or
No,
should they
no,
wait?
no, 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 no. Once the implantation occurs in the uterus, then after that, previously there may be history of ectopic pregnancy, but this time it is uterus in the ovum is in the uterus. Then after that, regular growth and development will occur. Then at the last trimester, if there is any other indication, it is not that previously ectopic pregnancy, so now we need to do cesarean section. It is not like that. So if there is any indication, suppose some other indications, like if there is some bleeding or some other things, then only the consulting physician, the gynecologist or the doctor may decide that we need to do cesarean section in this particular case. Otherwise, usually, normally 80% of the women should deliver normally. Only 20% require some intervention. So it is not that all pregnancies should be, only cesarean section should be done all pregnancy. It's not like that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think we've covered all questions also. It was very informative. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thanks for
We
inviting me.
hope to we hope to have you again very soon.
Thank you so much. Thanks
Thank
for inviting me. Thanks to Santa also. Thank you. Nice talking with you.
you.
Thank you.